Hi, my name is Sammy, and it's our presentation on Condado tacos. So we went to Condado Tacos downtown Grand Rapids on Bridge Street. Me and all my group members live downtown Grand Rapids, so we thought it would be interesting and fun to try a restaurant downtown. They're open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. most nights, and they have Mexican-inspired food and drinks. I researched some of the past reviews of Condado tacos, and they mostly had 5-star reviews, ranging from like 5 to 4 stars. But the 1-star reviews they did have were very descriptive. Some of the highlights of the reviews that I found include like stale food, which included like chips, tortillas, stuff like that. Brown or rotten food. I saw a lot about guacamole not being fresh, and queso not being fresh. I've saw a lot of comments about rude management, and management who didn't seem to care about complaints. I saw a lot about them bending COVID guidelines, so like nothing taken seriously with masks or social distancing. And then food poisoning was mentioned a couple times in the reviews. And then one specific review I found is on the right here. This lady found a prescription pill in her nachos. She almost broke her tooth on it. She says it was really hard in her food. The manager answered and said he would get her a gift card. And she didn't hear back until he finally ended up sending her a $50 gift card. And then she had an update saying that the HR said the case is closed. And she was really upset about it. This is definitely a big problem.
When doing our research into Condados Tacos at the Grand Rapids locations, we went into the Kent Health Department's website and found some of their past violations they have reviewed and worked on throughout the past couple of years. One of them being a hand washing sink misuse. The ice was being dumped in a hand washing station that was only supposed to be used for hand washing, but the ice was being dumped in there and refilled. The action taken for that, the staff reviewed some of these procedures, ensuring proper use for it going forward. Another violation they faced was lack of hand drying supplies. The hand sink by the cook sink was missing paper towels, and the action taken for that, paper towels were added during the inspection. Thankfully, these violations had very easy actions to solve the violation and fix some of their improper uses with it. And lastly, the dish sanitizer concentration below standards. The issue was the dish machine concentration did not meet the required level to ensure effective sanitation. The action taken with this, adjustments were made to sanitation conception and they were very compliant to fix this issue and were verified during a follow-up inspection. Again, like I said, all of these violations were nothing too bad, but action did need to be taken so Condados could continue to run their restaurant in a safe and healthy way.
From our first visit, we went into Condados, and some of the key takeaways that we saw were right when we walked in, you can see on the left-hand side the picture of the pitcher just right below the cleaning supplies in a trash can. We weren't sure exactly if this pitcher was used for the customers' waters or not, but either way, it's out in public view and wasn't a great thing to see. And then another violation we saw was that the soap dispenser in the women's restroom was empty. And there was also a really big spill on the main floor, like and right around other customers eating. But the good thing is that they had a caution sign, but that was something that we were concerned with not being fixed right away. And then from our second visit, we saw some stuff on the outside that was concerning. So walking into the restaurant again, we noticed that there was leftovers right in front of the restaurant. And not pictured, there was also cigarette butts in the bushes right outside the restaurant, which is just a something you don't want to see and might not be something that the employees are going to notice right away, but it's something that they can go and check out the outdoor or the outside look. Additionally, their outdoor patio furniture, you could see on the left, there's looks like bird poop on the chairs, and then the tables just had like food scraps on it. Maybe they didn't know about, but it's something that if it's their property, they should be managing it. And then on the right-hand side, we saw that there were these beer kegs next to the dumpsters. There's a hazard with having those right next to the dumpsters with like cross-contamination and stuff like that.
For our visit violation summary, we did initially ask to kind of get a tour of the back and different areas of the bar, just to see if it was up to standards and to see if it was well maintained, but they did initially deny us, so we did put that in our notes. But in the inside, in the area that we were allowed to look at, everything looked pretty well kept, except for a few issues that we noted before, such as the wet floor sign and the pitcher and just the table. But other than that, everything looked pretty well maintained and sanitized. On the outside, though, things could have used a lot more work just because things looked like they were poorly maintained. And granted, the weather was getting colder, but they still should be keeping up and not keeping the keg by the trash and just a better system for that. But overall, everything looked pretty well kept and pretty sanitary.
Okay, now we can get into what did they do right. Condados did have up-to-date permits throughout the restaurant. So this would be an example of health permits, liquor license, fire safety certifications, and these were all up to date. We have talked to the manager there. The next thing would be regulatory compliance, and this would be an example of like them staying up to date with food safety laws, fire codes, and building codes to just make sure that they exceed all of these standards and don't get in trouble by the state and federal regulations. The next thing would be upgrading equipment. So they definitely did have updated equipment to like ensure that there was still good food quality and safety. We talked when we spoke to the manager, she kind of explained that they were regularly updated instead of having like an outdated kitchen appliance. And then some further recommendations for Condados improving would be more regular inspections. So this could mean like having self logs to kind of ensure that the employees are kind of staying up to date on the cleaning and all of that type of stuff. This just would prevent any safety issues. Next would be employee training. This is in something that can be a certification for employees to kind of stay up to date monthly or every 6 months. We would recommend that to them just so employees are knowing what they are supposed to be doing at all times. The next thing is cleaning and sanitation. Obviously, this is at most restaurants, but just making sure that all the high surfaces, kitchen equipment, and restrooms are very clean, especially for their customers when people come in to dine. And then lastly would be cross-contamination prevention. So just making sure that there are procedures in place to kind of avoid these cross-contaminations, just so you can prevent any customer becoming sick and having a bad experience.
So for our concluding thoughts, we thought the inside as well as most of the outside could use a little bit more attention, especially in the outdoor area, even though it is cold outside. But relatively, it was a clean environment, and we all said that we would eat there again and that they did a decent job.